Hello, you. It's me. And I just wanted to take a quick time out and talk about some of the commentators, or at least one in particular. There have been some little upsets. I am not really privy to a lot of what it is. I don't collaborate with anybody. I don't really talk with anybody except for Indigo and Alice Down the Rabbit Hole, who have actually acknowledged me as a person on the internet. And I thank them greatly for that. But I know that there has been some stuff going around, or did go around, with Trixie Lane. I can't speak on what that is. I still watch Trixie Lane's videos because I think that they are often very interesting and informative. And also there's been a big thing with Case. A lot of creators have stopped watching him. I not in complete understanding of what happened, or as Amber would say, understandment of what happened. But the way Toddy One Skip broke it down is that essentially Case told one creator that another creator didn't really like them, something like that, and it kind of blew up from there. I don't know if that's true or not. I could be completely wrong. I'm only going by what it seemed that Toddy One Skip was saying to me. And I can understand people argue, people have little tiffs, whatever. It didn't seem terrible enough for me to stop watching Case. Maybe I will change my mind. But I still watch Toddy One Skip, I watch Case, I watch Becca Scoops. I don't watch Flawless Nina very often. She's just not on my radar. I watch other creators. Into the Weeds. Trying to think of, there's so many. There's so many. And Conspiracy, there's another one. And I try not to get into the drama of it all unless it's something just really horrific. Then I'll back off. I'm no longer interested. And that has happened. Not necessarily in this whole Gypsy commentary universe, but I mean that's happened with other creators that I've watched. I just stopped watching. That's it. They did something that I didn't like or I disagreed with or whatever, and I just stopped watching. That's it. Not a big deal. But in this case specifically, I wanted to talk about Case, or Case Study. He put out a video today, or did a live, I guess. That's now a video that can still be watched. He let out a big secret that he had been communicating with Christy directly. And he had told several of these other creators that he did stuff with, collabed with, that he was talking to her. He let them all know step by step everything that was happening. And so he spilled tea, supposedly. The thing is that the stuff that he didn't want to talk about till now, I mean, it seems like stuff we've already known. Like, I didn't know that he was talking to Christy, and I didn't know that Christy had sent him some pictures of Aurora, the baby. That's fine. And he didn't show them. Good on him. He shouldn't. But the other things that he was talking about, I feel like we already knew. We already knew that Gypsy and Kian hardly ever watch Aurora. They throw him to whoever they throw poor Aurora the baby to whoever they can, so they can go do their adult stuff. Didn't we already know that? Excuse me, my mouth was getting really dry. But didn't we already know that, essentially, that they don't really see Aurora, the baby, as a priority? I don't know. I felt like this was already known. I don't know. I hope that Case has some more things to talk about, because the things that he talked about, and I won't talk about everything, but the things that he talked about, essentially, I just felt like we already knew those things. And it wasn't even necessarily other creators talking about it. We could see it real time. They're going to California. They're going to Florida. They're going to whatever the fuck they're doing. They're going all these different places. And you never see Aurora the baby prominent in any of them. The only time I ever saw Aurora the baby prominent was like when they did the Easter thing. And the only thing that was really prominent was the stroller, not necessarily Aurora herself. But I could see, I've noticed in the past week just a slew of people talking about Aurora the baby and how she's not hitting those milestones. We don't hear anything. We don't see anything. Gypsy isn't bragging about anything, which you'd think she would absolutely do. But she's not saying anything. So my take on that is, one, you guys have pointed out very clearly that her cries don't sound normal. And I have noticed also that her cries are very high-pitched. I think that she has some kind of microdeletion. Now, does she have the same one as Gypsy? It's very possible. But I think for some reason they're hiding that. I don't know. I would think that actually Case could answer that question, since he's seen actual pictures of the baby, proving that there is a baby, or at least, a borrowed baby. But I would think if Aurora the baby had a microdeletion, it might be obvious. I mean, certainly if it's the same one that Gypsy has, it would be obvious. You'd see it in the eyes, in the face. So maybe Case can answer that one. But I suspect that the baby is sick. The baby has some kind of a microdeletion of some sort, because she doesn't sound like the average baby. I mean, even yesterday, I could say this was, for investigative purposes, but the fact is, I like scrolling and watching little babies giggle and laugh and say mama or dada for the first time. It's adorable. It's so cute. And to see the look of excitement on the parent's face. I've talked about this before, but it is so adorable when there's this one in particular where this little baby kind of rolls back and kind of, and this says, "Mama," and everybody in the room screamed. You couldn't see everyone, just the mom and dad, I'm guessing, but everybody was excited. It's so cute. I love it. And I'm looking at that baby. That baby could not stand yet, I don't think. That baby looked to be, in my opinion, maybe 6 months old. 6 or 7, maybe. I don't know. I'm not necessarily good at judging baby age, by the way they look. I can kind of just get a guesstimate. But a lot of these babies, some of these babies were very tiny babies. Like, they couldn't have been more than 3 months old. And they're saying stuff, Now, I know babies advance at different times in their life. Some babies do, you guys told me that some of your kids were walking at like 9 months. My kid ran across the room at 9 months and then didn't actually walk till after she was 1. But I see, that's the thing, like, all babies are different. And usually moms trade these things, like, oh, my baby was saying sentences by 2, and that's great. I think that's so cool. I love hearing that. But baby Aurora, from what we have heard from her in the background, whatever, there's never any mama, dada, like I said before. There's never any hint of saying things. Now, Gypsy has said that she said dada on Father's Day, which is great. That's good. That would be normal. But when I hear baby Aurora cry in the background, she doesn't sound like a normal baby. If she were like a month old, maybe, or 2 months old, maybe. But we never see her move, really. We never see her babble. And I think it could be that she has some delays. And I think it might be because of having some kind of a micro deletion. Now, this is not facts. This is just my feelings and my thoughts. I want to make that clear. I'm not alleging anything. I'm just making a guess, making an educated guess, because a baby at 7 months old should be moving, crawling, or scooting, trying to climb up on things, trying to move around, picking up stuff and sticking it in their mouths, and and babbling something. This baby Aurora, this poor little baby Aurora, I don't want to be nasty or mean because it's just a little tiny innocent baby, but I feel like she doesn't really do anything. Now, I can be wrong because Gypsy doesn't show the baby at all, or hardly at all, except in pictures. But even in pictures, as we all have seen, she doesn't look like she's grown. She looks like she's just swaddled to somebody and doesn't move. And it's sad. If she had, I would think it would be, people would have far more sympathy for Gypsy if her baby had some kind of special needs, had some kind of a micro deletion, was a rather sick child. But then it concerns me more because we know Dee Dee she quit her job and devoted her life to Gypsy, to figuring out what was wrong with her and to how to make her better. Is Gypsy in turn going to do that for Aurora, the baby? Because I don't think so. She hasn't shown that. And according to Case, Christy says she gives the baby to whoever she can, whenever she can. So she's not really invested. But again, and there's nothing against Case here, but we kind of already knew that. Gypsy, I don't think, is fooling anybody by pretending, she's a great mom and she sits and sings to her child. No, it's a performance. What she does off camera, we don't know. But it doesn't look good. So many people have said how obvious it is. Even Indigo said it seemed pretty obvious that Ken was not experiencing allergies. We'll put it that way. She did not confirm nor deny that it could have been substances, but it seemed to point to two substances. And that's sad, that's telling. And now Case said specifically in his video that Gypsy and Ken have gone silent and, stopped posting stuff because they're afraid of CPS. They should be. They absolutely should be, because they are doing bad things around that poor child, or just handing off the child to anybody else but them. CPS should be stepping in. I hope CPS does in fact step in, because it's disgusting. But yeah, Case, bring some other stuff in. I mean, it's good that you've confirmed stuff that we knew or suspected, I guess is a better way to put it. You've kind of confirmed that, but I would like to hear a little bit more. Again, like the look of the baby. Does the baby Aurora look like she would have a micro deletion? Because on many of the different types of micro deletion, they do have a certain look. And I'm not saying that's bad or good. I'm just saying it's a certain look. Does Aurora have that? You know, and I'm not here to say anything against poor Aurora. What I want to do is what Case wants to do. What hopefully every creator wants to do is to make sure that Aurora is safe. And being with Gypsy and Ken, her biological parents, I don't think she's safe. And I worry about her constantly. That's why I bring her up. It's not to say anything bad against Aurora. Aurora is a sweet, innocent child. I want to make sure she stays a sweet, innocent child until she has the time to grow up. With Gypsy and Ken, I'm fearful that that won't happen. That they will hurt her or damage her, and maybe already have to some degree, by doing bad things in front of her, thinking, oh, she's just a baby, she won't remember, she won't know. She can. You may not remember what happens when you're a child, but there's certain feelings and sensations that you get that you don't forget. And I don't want Ken doing substances to be something normal for Aurora the baby. If he were, allegedly. I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying it looks bad. Put it that way. I don't want Aurora the baby to think that's normal. And this is what concerns me. I don't want Aurora the baby to think it's normal for a mother to handle you like you're something gross that you don't want to touch. Because in my opinion, not facts, my thoughts, my feelings, Gypsy holds Aurora like it's something unclean and gross that she doesn't want to touch. That child should have been bonded to her by now. Should have been bonded to her the first week, the first month, let alone 7 months later. But I want Aurora to have the chance to grow up like any normal kid. And Ken and Gypsy, they put out a front, but it's all a facade. It's not real. And that's what I'm concerned. What is real and what is Aurora actually going through? That's a concern. That's why I bring it up. I don't give a flying fuck about Gypsy at this point, or Ken, or Ryan, or anybody else in the family. I don't care. They're all adults, they're all stupid, and they all are grifters and shysters. I mean, that's my opinion. That's what I think of them. But my concern is that Aurora isn't that yet. And I want her to be safe. And I want her to grow up happy and healthy. And I don't know how that's going to happen. But that's why I talk about it, because I hope maybe CPS will step in. You know, maybe something I've said, or something you say, or something that Case says, or Toddy One Skip, or Conspiracy, or Nadatha, I think that's how you say her name, or any of these creators. Getting the word out so that CPS will take notice and will do a health check. Make sure the baby isn't sitting in squalor. Make sure the parents are alert and attentive. That's all I'm saying. If Ken and Gypsy can pull that shit off, like in real time, and be actual parents, fine. But they need to be watched more closely. Because the things that they think are acceptable, that they're actually putting out, are dangerous. And they think that's normal? That doesn't seem right. That's all I'm saying. So, well, anyway, I started this video because I wanted to talk about all the different creators and their little arguments and things, their little kerfuffles. And they have a right to do and feel and act the way that they want. I'm still going to watch them until they give me a reason not to. You know, whoever they are, including Case. But Case, I hope he brings some more interesting things up, including Aurora. And if she's safe and what's going on. Does she look like she has the same kind of micro deletion that Gypsy has? Because she sounds like she would. And her delays, or what seem like delays, would suggest that she might. Maybe he can clarify a few of those things. I would be interested in hearing that. Like I said, I listen to lots of different people. Angel Baby. There's so many that I watch. Just to get a different take. I like to hear what people have to say and to see if they have something new or interesting to bring up. And that's it. You know, I don't see anything wrong with that. Anyway, let's hope today that Aurora is safe. She's living her best life. Thank you for listening. And that's all I got to say.